Okay, so what do you do when you meet a child of 2 to 3 years of age? You try to say hi to them, you give them a high five, or you try to shake their hands. But this particular child just ignores you and goes to the corner and starts playing with his toys, piling up a neat pile of building blocks. You say, oh, he's shy. You get rejected by a 2-year-old kid, and you feel, oh, he's shy, let it be, it's fine. But his parents know the painful truth. He doesn't meet their eyes. He doesn't respond when they call their name, or he doesn't even speak a word. And after a series of trips to the doctor, they finally get a diagnosis: autism spectrum disorder. But imagine this: the child in a room with a therapist filled with gentle music, not with words or instructions, just gentle music and a therapist. The child is doing his own thing, flapping his arms, flip, spinning around, rocking himself. And the therapist does not tell him to stop or sit still. She joins in, she mirrors him. And what happens? This child suddenly pauses and looks up at her. There, that brief spark of connection. That is dance movement therapy. Understanding the child, his language through movement, play, and presence. Good evening, and thank you for being here. I am Dr. Vishakha Suvarna. Having a movement rich childhood, it was but obvious, it was inevitable that I pursue dance movement therapy after my graduation to understand the healing potential of the body and its movements. Now, to understand how the dance movement therapy helps kids with autism, let's first understand the neurology of autism and why there are the symptoms of social and emotional symptoms that come up in autism. For that, we'll have to understand what is the mirror neuron system. So, mirror neuron system is a group of specialized neurons in our brain that mirrors the action and behavior of others. So what happens is the mirror neurons are basically what happens is when you see some person doing a particular action, for example, grabbing a banana. So the neurons that are being fired in their brain to grab the banana are the same neurons that are being fired in your brain when you just see them or observe them grabbing the banana, as if you yourself are grabbing that banana. Get it? So the mirror neurons are basically helping you understand the intention behind an action. So you understand why a certain action has been done by a person. You understand social communication through that. You understand empathy through that. So there was a study done by Mirella D'Abruzzo in the University of California in 2006 to understand why autism spectrum children do not behave like a normal child does. So in normal children, the mirror neuron system works with the limbic system, that is our emotional brain, and the emotion observed. So for example, if a person is smiling, that child, the neurons fired in that person to make that person smile are the same neurons that are firing in the child's brain, which are uh, firing because of the mirror neuron system, and they understand the emotion because it is connected to the limbic system. So the emotion is observed and is directly felt and understood. But in the children with autism spectrum disorder, this mirror neuron system is not engaged, does not fire, and therefore the emotion behind the action is not felt and understood. This is the reason behind the social and emotional symptoms of autism, that is struggling to understand and regulate emotions, struggling to express emotions, struggling to understand non-verbal cues like body language, tone of voice, or facial expressions. Also, delayed speech. Why? Because the mirror neuron system is a very integral part of learning language, and difficulty in maintaining and initiating conversation. So what is dance movement therapy? How will dance movement therapy help with this dysfunction in the mirror neuron system? So to understand that, let's look at the definition given by the American Dance Movement Therapy Association. They say that dance movement therapy is the psychotherapeutic use of movement to further the emotional, cognitive, physical, and social integration of the individual for the purpose of improving health and well-being. Okay, let's just understand it through an activity. Let's just do an activity first. So what are we going to do is, um, I'll show you a certain picture and we just have to imitate that picture. Whatever that person is doing in the picture, let's just do it. Let's not attach any meaning to it. Okay. So let's try to embody that movement a bit. What did you feel? Helplessness, frustration maybe, or your head is paining. Those are the things that you feel that person might be feeling while you are doing the same movements. Let us look at another picture. Okay, she's just smiling, but you can just mirror me if you can. What did you feel? What did you feel when you're doing these actions? Playfulness, carefree, happiness. Yeah. Yes. So what you felt and observed here is that when you do a certain uh, action in your body, there is a certain emotion or a certain thought running through your mind at the same time. And that is your mind body connection. The dance movement therapy hacks this mind body connection to help you with physical issues, with emotional issues, with mental issues, and also with social integration issues as well. So, how DMT helps children with autism? And for that, we'll have to understand a concept which we have all heard of, that is neuroplasticity. So the ability of the nervous system to change its activity in response to intrinsic or extrinsic stimuli by reorganizing its structure, functions, or connections, which means that simply that the brain is very flexible. It responds, it changes itself in response to intrinsic, that is its own thought or your own thought, or extrinsic, that is anything in the external environment, whether it is an activity, whether it is something that you witness, or whether it is some music or dance. So this does not happen just with one thought or one activity, but it happens through continued thought, repeated thought and activities. And that is how new neural pathways are created in the brain. And that is what means by neuroplasticity. So DMT helps in creating these new neural pathways. But to create these new neural pathways, you need a safe space. You have never heard of someone exploring or trying to cross their own emotional boundaries in an uncomfortable situation. So you need a safe space. Children need a safe space to do that. And that is created by dance movement therapy. The safe space is created when the dance movement therapy practitioner has a non-judgmental approach where the child feels supported and encouraged to express freely. Also, when dance movement therapy itself is a strength-based perspective where we focus on the strengths of the child rather than its weaknesses. Dance movement therapy, all the activities in dance movement therapy are basically creative expression of uh, different tools. So there was a study done by Erin Walsh in Lesley University not too long ago to study the effects of dance movement therapy on children suffering from autism spectrum disorder. So 5 non-verbal children participated in 5 dance movement therapy sessions spread over 5 weeks. And the result was increased engagement. These children started engaging with their parents, with the practitioner herself, with other with children of their own age more after these sessions. There was improved expressive abilities. They started expressing their emotions, improved receptivity to social cues. They started understanding the social communication system, the language spoken by everyone else. So, what are the different tools in the toolbox of a dance movement therapy practitioner? Let's look at that. First is mirroring. The activity we just did of mirroring will we when we try to mirror each other, we are directly hacking the mirror neuron system. We are strengthening the mirror neuron system of the children of autism. That is how mirroring helps. Then they use metaphor and imagery, which means that it using metaphors and imagery, we help them explore emotions and social situations, so that they don't it's a very non-threatening and playful way to explore these concepts. For example, you can think of anger as an elephant stomping around the room, or playfulness by or freedom by a bird flapping his wings and flying away. So these are small activities that we can do with the autism spectrum children. Use of props to understand and embody emotions, using the props to increase the movement, increase the understanding and embodiment of the emotions, like use of props like scarves, like stretch cloth, like ribbons, also Play-Doh. These are some common props that are used, which help them understand emotions, embody emotions in a very playful manner. Then some small group activities with play. So some small games, even just a sharing of a chart paper and trying to draw together helps them build and strengthen their social communication skills. Also, relaxation and self-regulating techniques. A DMT session is curated in such a way that every DMT session, at the end of a DMT session, we have a relaxation activity where we help them relax after the whole intense session, but also we equip them with tools so that they can use these relaxation tools in their everyday life when they're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated. There are some simple techniques like guided meditations, like imagery, like as if a feather is falling to the ground and relaxing through that imagery, like emotional freedom techniques, which is basically tapping different parts of your face and body to ground yourself. Tools like okay. So it takes time, understanding, empathy, and a whole lot of love to care for children on the spectrum. It also is easier to care when you have the correct information and when you start focusing on their strengths rather than their weaknesses. And thank you for taking the time to get that correct information today. Allow me to introduce the organization that I've been a part of, which is Alkanand Holistic Hub. We are a team of specialists who believe in providing holistic care and specialized care to our patients. And you can check out our services at our website, that is alkanandholistichub.com. Thank you for being here. I'll share a feedback form with you in the chat. May I? So that you can just give me a feedback for the presentation while I answer your queries and doubts. May I share the Okay. Okay. So may I share the feedback form in the chat for that at that point, if that's okay? Oh, okay, I've shared the feedback form in the chat, so you can forward them wherever possible and let me know. Okay, you're welcome. Okay. Thank you so much, Autism Connect, for this platform. Thank you.